Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. I tell you, and I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and that beautiful lady that you see over to the side, that's the co-host and a very wonderful woman, and they're just doing a whole lot of things. But I tell you, today is Hot Topics Day. Hot Topics. We're going to talk about some things that are hot in society, and I want everybody to know that it's not political or nothing like that, but everybody has opinions, and I believe that we have to discuss a lot of things that are happening in our society, especially if they don't look right or feel right, and if someone is hurt or is affecting someone. Um, we all are in this world together, and we all care together. So, what are your thoughts on that, Michelle?
I love our Hot Topics show. It is dynamic. And you're right. We're not here to try to convince people to think our way. We're just expressing our views and also, sharing our ideas. And you never know how that may impact other people, give them pause to think, oh, I didn't think about that. So that's really interesting, to to just hear other people's views. It's being open minded. You may not agree with it, but listen, that's the only way you're going to grow in life. So I'm definitely excited about the show. I'm excited about the guest panelists that we have today, aren't you?
We got an absolutely wonderful guest panelist, and I tell you, all of these people are absolutely magnificent, doing great things in the world, and they love humanity just like you and I do. So I tell you what, wherever you're watching this at, whether you're watching on E360 television, whether you're watching it on YouTube Live, Facebook, Twitter, over 20 plus other live streaming networks. If you want to be part of this conversation, all you do is go to the comments and just ask one of us any question that you might have, or just tell us what you're thinking, and I promise I'll make sure that we get it on. Michelle, I can't wait to get this show started. I'm gonna bring all the panel on right now, and but I want you to tell our listeners and our viewers the title of the show, the purpose of the show, and introduce these three great panelists.
Yes. Well, the title of the show is September 2022 Hot Topics. And the purpose is to discuss the current hot topics for September, which are controversy for Governor Ron DeSantis and sending migrants to other states. Topic two, how high interest rates are affecting American households. Number three, the issues, dangers, and challenges of the QAnon theories within the United States. And four, the water crisis in Jackson, Mississippi, and the lack of funding provided to this community and others like it. So we're going to get to know the opinions of our fellow panelists, which include financial consultant and owner of Goldsmith Financial, Joshua Goldsmith, cognitive behavior coach and keynote speaker, Dr. Michael Mantell, and speaker, coach, trainer, and facilitator, Dr. Laquita Monley to the show.
Wow, and welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Just so happy to have you guys a part of this panel. Dr. Mantel and Josh, so you guys been on the panel before, so you know how it go. Dr. Laquita, get ready, sit back, tell everybody to grab a couple of bags of popcorn because it's going to be entertaining. And I tell you what, Michelle, let's start this now.
Okay, topic one, controversy on Florida Governor Ron DeSantis sending migrants to other states. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, a Republican, took credit for flying roughly 50 Venezuela migrants to Martha's Vineyard, an island off the Massachusetts coast, without alerting local officials. Per the governor, there's also going to be buses where there will likely be more flights. But I tell you this, the legislature gave me 12 million. We're going to spend every penny of that to make sure that we're protecting the people of the state of Florida. Meanwhile, WSF Public Media and the News Service of Florida reported House Democrats want Republican legislator leaders to block funding that Governor Ron DeSantis plans to continue using to transport migrants after two planes took a group of about 50 people from Texas to Massachusetts. So, the question number one, What are your thoughts about the Florida governor sending migrants to Massachusetts while giving the state any warning? We'll start with you, Dr. Laquita Monley.
Wow. Well, it's like showing up at somebody's house uninvited. Like, if you're having a party and you invite one person, and then not only do they not show up, but they send you a busload of people that you don't know and were not expecting. So therefore, I was not prepared. I will say that I'll keep it clean and keep it nice. Like, he could have did better than that. I must admit, though, I was really impressed with the way that Martha's Vineyard responded to and received the migrants when they came. So let's just say, Governor DeSantis, whatever your reasoning was and whatever bright idea you had, perhaps it should have been shared with others, other key leaders, other key decision makers, to make sure that the people were well received. So, kudos to Martha's Vineyard, Governor DeSantis. We probably need a bit better communication. And I do believe even in that, because my son loves Twitter. So I can't take credit for this little piece of information I was about to say, but he loves researching current events and staying abreast of things like that. He told me that there were a few actual Americans that got caught up in that migratory process and that were sent to Martha's Vineyard that were not actually, migrants. They just were the right skin tone to be mistaken for such.
Wow. Okay. Good thoughts. What is your opinion, Dr. Mantell?
Well, okay, I'll give the same wow that Laquita gave. You asked the best questions. I'll tell you this, that one of the reasons I like being a guest on your show and being with you is because your heart and soul, it aims at creating a more charitable, more tolerant, more beautiful world. What a beautiful world, in the words of Louis Armstrong. And I share that. And unfortunately, what we see going on in Florida and elsewhere is the exact opposite. The Venezuelan leaders in Florida said that the governor lied to the Venezuelan communities earlier last month. And when he pledged not to send migrants from either country out of state. Let me just point something out. We use the word migrant and immigrant. Last time we talked about this, I said this is like migrant dumping. But the Associated Press style book says that immigrants are people who move to a different country with the intention of settling there. Migrants are people who are on the move, whether it's economic reasons or whatever, either within one country or cross borders. We don't know if these are migrants or immigrants. And I feel we need to respect human life, not this blatant disregard for human life. These are human beings. I don't care what color they are. I don't care where they're from. I don't care what their pressures are. They're human beings. They have the same value that you and I and everyone else does, living in the big, beautiful homes in the Hamptons and Martha's Vineyard and wherever else it is. And so I just feel that this Harvard-educated, Yale-educated, former Iraq military person from the Navy ought to know better. And as I said in chatting before, I believe he does. This is not the politics means stunt. Let's face it. I think he knows better, but I think the disregard for people in the service of some other value that's driving him is so evident. As my mother used to say when I was becoming a psychologist, hey, I don't need to be a psychologist to know that. And I think this is one of those things where you don't need to be a psychologist to see that the values that drive this kind of decision are not what adds to a charitable, tolerant, and beautiful world.
Thank you, Dr. Mantell. Joshua Goldsmith, what are your thoughts?
Dr. Mantell, you make great points. And whether or not I agree with most of them, but I want to add to it. And you mentioned that people have your favorite reason for being on the show is that their hearts are in it, and absolutely, and it's about being humane to people, and being able to know that our fellow citizens are going to treat people humanely. Now, yes, they do have the same value, but they don't have the same rights, and we should acknowledge that there are different rights that citizens have versus people that are here illegally or possibly trying to get their rights. Now, initially, when I heard about this story, I thought, you know what, maybe it's an idea to bring awareness to an issue that's bigger than I thought it was. But upon further examination, it's a straight up political ploy to gain momentum through the issue of immigration from his political party. And he isn't trying to solve any issue here. Who's not aware of the immigration problem in this country? The two parties are divided on this issue as well, and they need to have communication between the states regarding the party affiliation towards a solution. The only way our politicians are going to take heed is if they see that the people are united on these issues. And so we need to become closer. We need to work together on these issues to solve them rather than pointing fingers and acting like children. And I think it's very doable.
Thank you, Joshua. Dr. Cooley, what are your thoughts?
Well, I'm approach this in a different way, and each one of the panel members has been absolutely fantastic. But the biggest challenge I have with this is I think it's inhuman that somebody could go to another state, has nothing to do with that state. These immigrants did not land in this state or had nothing to do with it. He went to Texas, however he did this, and I guess the way that I see it kind of recruited the immigrants to with telling them they're gonna have a better life and a lot of other things, and sent them to another state. He went to somebody else's state where Texas, I know they doing similar to the same thing, but they're not. The governor from Tennessee is not going to Texas and grabbing people and sending them to Massachusetts. I don't understand that. It's not right. And just like Dr. Mantel and Joshua just mentioned, it's political. But what are you gaining out of this? It's also a part of separating, and I don't know how to say this, um, and I don't want to use color or whatever, but that's what it is. These people are not like us, and whatever that is, and it's not right because we all are the same. We all are children of God, and we all want to have the best life possible.
So I'll tell you something. You mentioned God. I imagine Ron DeSantis standing in front of God. His heart is breaking, and he's in pain, and he sees the injustice in the world. And he says, "Dear God," he cries out, "Dear God, look at all the suffering, the anguish and distress in this world. Why don't you send help?" God looks down at Ron DeSantis and said, "I did. I sent you. This is not help."
That's a powerful statement. That's a powerful statement. I love the way that you broke down the definition of migrant and immigrant. Yesterday, I was interviewing a beautiful soul, and she wrote a book called Shimmigrant, and it is a series of books talking about her experience moving from Ghana, West Africa, to America, and her experience through university and transitioning through into getting to her full citizenship. And I thought about that as my husband was active duty military for 24 plus years. We've had the pleasure of living in other countries. What amazes me is this. We as Americans, we can't acknowledge that there's an immigration problem in all first world countries. In all major first world countries, we have an immigration problem. Right. But it amazes me how some of us that are from these first world countries don't like to acknowledge the humanity of the people who are coming in and out of our borders, or the fact that we ourselves can become immigrants in other nations or migrants in other nations. But we don't like to wear those labels. And I really love that you brought that out, Dr. Mamtel. With my husband's military service, you move and you go to different countries. You love the vibe, you love the feel. You get out of the military. It has become a thing now that in times past, Americans could get out of the military and remain in country where they are. But now, and let's give Germany for an example. Now, when my husband retired, he retired in Germany. But in order for us to remain in Germany, we had to have a job to prove that we could sustain. Why is that? Because Americans, migrant, immigrants, expats, we like to be called expats, and neither of the other two terms. We would come and loaf off of their social welfare systems because a lot of other countries have much better welfare systems than we do. So I love the fact that you're putting the human context in that. And as we as Americans are having this much needed conversation, as Joshua pointed out, let's put the human factor back in it, because when we're expats, we don't want to be treated harshly. Whether or not we have our documents to remain in country, we still want to be treated like humans. And so that's ultimately the goal here. We should treat them like humans.
And that's
Thank
right.
you, Dr. Molly.
We're going to have to take a station break. And all of these, we're going to sum it up real quickly when we get back. We're going to finish up this topic and go to the next one. But I tell you what, if you want to be part of this great conversation, go to the comments, ask us any question that you might have, or just tell us what you're thinking. We'll be back shortly after the break. It's Your Life. I'm Dr. James Cooley.
Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, or hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? In everything that you do.
Dr. James J.C. Cooley. The James Cooley Show. It's your life. The James Cooley Show. It's your life.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. And I tell you, that those last few questions that we had was it was so inspiring, I believe, to get others people opinion and what they think about that, and also just keep it in perspective. And so I tell you, our viewers out there, again, wherever you're watching this at on E360 TV, YouTube, over 20 plus other streaming networks, join in on the fun with us, because it's all about fun. It's all about educating. It's all about love. So, and Michelle, I want to finish up this topic. So we got one question, try to keep it down. I mean, to about 3 minutes with everything on this, because we need to go to the other topic.
Yes, most definitely. So I'm just gonna, and just the answers, To the point. So let's start with Josh Goldsmith. So basically, most of the migrants interviewed say they didn't know where they were headed and they felt they were lied to. Despite the issue with the border, do you believe these people are being used as pawns? And really, we are forgetting that these are human beings, and that fact is getting lost during the border crisis. I mean, these are families, these are human beings, and just I believe people are just forgetting that. What are your thoughts on that, Josh?
Well, of course, yes, they're human beings, and they need to be treated with dignity and respect. Something that is not allotted to immigrants. And it also has to do with money. You know, it's like, how many of these people, what's their net worth? If I were to take a survey on how much money each one of them has, it's probably poverty. And without a job, there's a lot going on here. He's raising awareness to an issue that in a way that is detrimental to the issue itself. And it's sickening. At least for me, I mean, there are much easier, better ways to bring about this. And it to me, it goes to the character of the person that he is, unfortunately. And I had thought a little bit higher about him, but prior to this, but this is such a drastic measure that he took. I'm just appalled and disgusted by it.
Well, we have one of our comments from Alen.
Well, hey, Michelle, that's one of my old bosses. How you doing,
Oh,
Admiral? How you doing?
oh,
Yeah. And I see your comments, and you are absolutely right, sir. It is America, not just Texas. So hey, so happy that you are watching this show. I hope you're having just as much fun as we are. And the panel, anybody want to comment on the Admiral Curran's comment?
well, I can read the comment. Basically, he said, sorry, they didn't come to Texas. They came to America. But as things are now, America's not helping. They are watching the illegal border crossings as if it's Texas' problem. If America is not willing to share in the problem, then be prepared for this nonsense will occur. We are a nation founded in law. Not following the law is the real problem. Every politician who swore to uphold the law and fails to do so is at fault, every one of them. So this is the last question we're going to comment, we're going to ask. Dr. Monley, what are your thoughts on this comment from one of our viewers?
I can agree with his statement to a large degree. Mm-hmm. It is an American issue, and the issue is, what did these people come, what laws that they abide by in coming or not coming? We honestly don't know. And as Americans, we do need to actively work together to solve the problem, but we're not doing it in a bipartisan way. And I can agree with everyone on the panel that the way that this situation is handled, as well as loads of other situations like this with dealing with the migrant or immigrant issue, it is dealt with in a way that is appealing to a political voter base, whether it's Democrat or Republican, and no one is truly trying to solve the issue. And for another story on another day, the reason that I believe is not being solved is because of the migrant. You're not going to solve a migrant issue when Fortune 500 companies and other companies are benefiting from migrant workers and paying them minimal wages versus paying Americans. And that's on Democrat and Republican side. You're not going to solve this problem. They don't want it solved because they need that cheap workforce. So let me, I might before I get in trouble.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Monley. Now we're going to go to our next topic, how high interest rates are affecting American households. The country's central bank has raised its key interest rates several times in an attempt to tame the hottest inflation in 4 decades. The cumulative effect of this has a bigger impact on your wallet than you realize, and more interest rate hikes may be on the way. Americans' bottom line is diminishing. Household income is diminishing because of inflation. So we will see people relying more on credit cards and loans to offset that cost. it's really going to be difficult to find loan products with low interest rate, and it's going to be that much harder to pay back. I'm going to start with you, Dr. Mantell. Due to the increase in interest rates, how can a person on a fixed or limited income survive, especially if they are in credit card debt? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, being what I am as a profession, the first thing that I think about is make sure your mind is right, so that if you have anxiety, if you're predicting doom, if you don't accept what's happening, if you think my income is down, therefore my value as a human being is down, you're not going to be able to address the issues properly. Stock market volatility, borrowing is more expensive, mortgages are costlier, higher rates of unemployment. This is what we are being asked to deal with. This is the adversity that in our current lifetime today we're being asked to deal with. And I think that the specifics go beyond my professional expertise, but the mindset to deal with this adversity is what I focus in on. And I talk to people who are so worried, they're physically ill with anxiety or depression or anger. This shouldn't be this way. This is horrible. I can't stand it. No, I wish it wasn't happening. It's not good. I don't like it. Let me use that clear, uncaged mindset to then apply what the financial experts tell us to be doing, whatever that might be. That's beyond my expertise. So I'll turn that over to the others.
Thank you, Dr. Mantell. Joshua Goldsmith, next question. Some homeowners are losing wealth as high mortgage rates weigh on home values, at least on paper, as the once red-hot housing market cools quickly. Sales have been slowing down for several months, with mortgage rates now double what they were at the start of this year. As a homeowner, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, number one, don't panic. Nothing good comes from panicking. The housing market has come down before and recovered. I may use this opportunity as a homeowner to purchase an investment property, to look at other distressed properties, which is a possibility to add to the portfolio. Buy when things are down, buy low and sell high. It's a very basic investment theme, but it also applies to the stock market. Where are we now? Where are we today? As I sit in the stock market, we are at the year's low as we sit now at this moment, for the whole year. So it's the definition of the low for the year. Now, it may not be the bottom, but, as far as, the housing market, interest rates are going up. The housing prices are going to go down. That's a good thing in terms of the economy, in terms of us getting closer to leveling off, with the stock market and with the economy. The pandemic, when everything was shut down, that was a serious thing. And these are the consequences that we're going through right now. So it's important to number one, don't panic, because you're not going to make a good decision if you're in panic mode. But I have to say this as well, is that 80% of American adults had at least one credit card. Because I'm going back to the credit card. What your question, Dr. Mantell, and just listen to this number: $887 billion is what Americans carry on their credit cards as of the second quarter. So please, folks, these are not toys. These are not things to live on. These are things to, that were invented by companies that are trying to make money off of our backs. So, this is the shredder. Okay, put your credit cards in the shredder, folks. We need to get a handle on this issue, and it's going to make sense.
Thank you, Joshua. Thank you so much. So, Dr. Cooley, do you believe the spike in interest rates will change American spending habits in the long run, in which they can become more financially responsible instead of using the credit cards or just buying things that they want instead of things that they need. What are your thoughts on that?
I believe that, first of all, we have to create better habits. Just like what Joshua just mentioned. I mean, just because you get a credit card or somebody tell you, you don't have to sign up for it, and you certainly don't have to go out and use it. So you ask, do I believe that their spending habits going to change? Absolutely, it's going to change temporarily because the income is not coming in, and then most people can't afford uh, a lot of things at the prices today. But also believe that becomes short sighted because as soon as we recover and get back on the right track, a lot of people go out and accumulate much debt. So unfortunately, I don't think it's going to help in the long run. It might help in the short run.
Thank you, Dr. Cooley. Last question, Dr. Monley. What advice would you provide for a college student who needs to take out a student loan? I mean, this is hard for them as well and for their families. Can you provide your thoughts on that before we go to break?
I would say don't do it. One of the things that we've done and that I would encourage families of middle school students and high school students to do, start them understanding financial literacy, understanding what a credit card is, how to use a credit card, because it amazes me that our students, and I was in that position, I can go and accumulate $100,000 worth of credit card debt, but I cannot get a $20,000 loan to start a business. Something about that is upside down. So if at all possible, whatever you can do to not have to accumulate that student debt, that student loan debt, don't do it. If you do have to do it, then pay on that loan while you're in university. I don't care if you pay them $10, pay them something so that you can begin to address that issue while you're in university so that you won't have so much debt hanging over you once you get out of university.
Thank you. Dr. Cooley?
Wow. Well, I tell you, we're going to take a station break, but we're going to come back. And I think we're going to skip topic number 3 and go to topic 4.
Well,
because
we can kind of combine them.
So I tell you, we're going to take a station break, but this is, I believe this is great conversation that we're having. And I see that we have over 500-600 people watching the show right now live. And I tell you, if you got some questions, by all means, go to the comments. Ask us a question or just tell us how you feel. It's your life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. Myself and the panel will be back shortly after the break.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you, that last topic was interesting, and Admiral Heron made a great point. Michelle, you care to read that point?
Oh, yes. He said in 1981, when my wife and I purchased our first home, interest rates were 17.5%. All things in perspective, the problem is Americans no longer know how to control their wants and needs. Most of the stimulus checks provided this past 3 years created more debt, not less. I kind of agree with that, but we're going on to the next topic.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
I totally agree with that.
Mhm.
And I understood why the government was doing that, but a lot of times handouts is not really, unless it's really needed. I
Mhm.
mean, I don't think it would need it to some. This is just my own opinion. It was free money that the government was giving away, and to me, that did create a whole lot of other problems because people didn't want to work. They stopped working. Didn't want to. Most still today. Most companies cannot even get employees, and I believe that that had a whole lot to do with it. So, Admiral Heron, you're point on that one with myself. Anybody got anything they want to add to that?
We got to go to the next topic.
No. Anybody
Okay.
got anything they want to add to that? Okay,
Not right now, JC.
okay.
Okay, topic number 3, the issues, dangers, and challenges of the QAnon theories within the United States. Now, according to Wikipedia, QAnon is American political conspiracy theory and political movement. It originated in the American far-right political sphere in 2017. QAnon centers on false claims made by anonymous individual or individuals known as Q. Those claims have been relayed, developed, and supplemented by numerous communities and influences associated with the movement. I'm going to start with Joshua Goldsmith on this. We're going to ask just 2 panelists these questions. Josh, do you believe QAnon followers belong to a cult or possibly have a cult-like mentality? Please go.
Well, I thought that's the definition of cult. It says QAnon in the dictionary. Is that not? Uh, I mean, the answer is yes. The groups embracing the QAnon movement, however, is spread, and we're starting to hear about these things through mainstream outlets and sources. There's a group. Sovereign citizens, those that believe they're exempt by U.S. law are often members. They believe the laws don't apply to themselves. Separate movement within QAnon is encouraging parents from their estranged children to kidnap them from child protective services and or from their guardians. And some people who have tried to do this believe that CPS is like the cabal is trying to abduct children and harvest their adrenochrome, it's just for eternal life. And some of the abductors also have ties to sovereign citizens movement. I mean, it came to light in Pizzagate, the conspiracy in which, promoted a falsehood of Hillary Rodham Clinton was running a child sex trafficking ring out of the basement of a Comet Ping Pong, a pizza restaurant in DC. Right. And the rumors spurred. And one believer, this guy Welsh, he went to the restaurant with his AR-15 and looked for the non-existent basement. And, and he fired shots in the door and he got 4 years. This thing, we need to pay attention because although everything I'm saying, in my, humble opinion is very commonsensical, like what the heck is going on here. We need to completely turn our backs to this, but you can't ignore it because if something like this grows stronger, it's based on a lie, and it needs to be have some light shined on it so that we can actually understand we're not going to believe that the sky is a different color than it is. It's like in that one movie, Don't Look Up, where the comet, with Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence, where there was a comet going to hit the Earth, and there was actually a movement going on for the people not to look up. And obviously the diehards, people that wouldn't look up, died at the end of the movie because there was actually a comment. All they had to do was look up. Well, this is the same scenario here. Look up, look at what's going on. I'm not going to accept this into my country, my life, my world, where a bunch of baby eating cannibals are trying to run this country. They're not going to take over. It's not going to happen. But this is a political ploy to get their votes. These people have votes,
Thank you, Joshua. Dr. Mantell, this question's for you. Some QAnon believers are being driven to violence. Experts say mental health problems could be a factor. And also, can you comment on that and why, in your opinion, that you believe some people are susceptible to believing this?
Sure. The Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of the American Psychiatric Association, when it first came out, was about that thick. Today, you can use it in the gym to put some muscle on by lifting it. It's this thick. It's added hundreds of these diagnoses. But the one diagnosis that's not in there is mass murderer. Mass murderer. I think anyone who picks up one of these guns and goes shooting randomly at people has a mental health problem. Now, others may argue it's not a diagnosis. I understand that. Not yet, but it darn well should be. QAnon is a militant and anti-establishment ideology that's focused on destroying what they believe is the corrupt world order and accelerating the arrival of their definition of New Age. Now, they don't do it in a mentally healthy way. They insist, they demand that it be done their way, and that they cannot tolerate to the point of destruction, violence, murder, if we don't agree. This is not a group per se. It's a loose affiliation of adherents who believe that liberal elites, without getting political here, but they believe liberal elites are pursuing global domination through ritualistic child sacrifice. It's alluding to what Josh was talking about earlier. This is a meta conspiracy theory group. I'm not going to diagnose a group this size as being mentally ill, but I certainly believe that it's reasonable to assume that there is a mental health concern that they have. The fact is that most Americans, thankfully, who have heard of QAnon conspiracy theories, say that they're bad for the country. About half of Americans now say they've heard of this QAnon conspiracy theory, and a majority who've heard of those conspiracy theories say that they're, as I say, very bad for this country. And one piece of research found that about 4 in 10 Republicans who have heard of the QAnon conspiracy theory say that QAnon is a good thing for the country. Not getting political, not discussing Democrats, but these are data that's coming up. So in answer to your question, mental illness, I don't know. My personal belief is, I think that mass murder because I don't like what you think and you should think what I think, that's a mental illness. But at the very least, this is a group that has some mental health concerns. They're not playing to create this beautiful, tolerant, charitable world that we all want to live in.
Wow. We're going to take a quick break because I want to come back and address the last, but you're absolutely right, Dr. Mantell. And that's a tough topic. We're talking about QAnon. And I don't know a whole lot about it, but only what I see and what I read. But I tell you, we're going to take a quick break, then we're going to come back and we're going to finish up the last topic. It's Your Life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We'll be back shortly after the break.
Hello. Hey, I'm James Cooley. I am the founder and CEO of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, Options, Opportunities, Lasting Choice Program. Our primary mission is to help build a foundation of our youth and young adults and communities. And we encourage everyone to dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. And the way that you do that is, first of all, you got to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. You have to know that you are here for a purpose. You also have to be able to step out your comfort zone and do things that you probably didn't think that you can do.
Life is a series of circles and cycles, praises and stages. These experiences teach you the lessons of life. You can either ignore them or embrace them. Welcome to It's Your Life with James Cooley. James is a motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation. James is here to equip you to strive for greatness and overcome adversity. It's time to get you equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, here's the host of It's Your Life, James Cooley.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. We're down to our last topic, about the last 7 minutes of the show, and I tell you, it's just been so exciting, so interesting so far. And you guys can be on my panel any day, anytime. So Michelle, let's get down to the last topic, and
Yes. Topic 4, the water crisis in Jackson, Mississippi, and the lack of funding provided to this community and others like it. The Environmental Protection Agency, EPA Administrator Michael S. Regan stated, the people of Jackson, Mississippi have lacked access to safe and reliable water for decades. After years of neglect, Jackson's water system finally reached a breaking point this summer, leaving tens of thousands of people without any running water for weeks. These conditions are unacceptable in the United States of America. Dr. Monley, do you believe Jackson, Mississippi's water system experienced years of neglect due to the population, in your opinion, being over 80% Black and 25% living in poverty? And would this type of neglect or issue be evident in wealthier cities or communities? Remember, we're pressed for time here, so
I'll say yes. Okay.
Oh, keep going.
And so, I mean, to me, as a native Mississippian, the answer is obviously yes. They haven't fixed Flint. Jackson is in trouble, but we forget about that. Flint, Michigan's water crisis is not repaired. That's been years. And just as a native Mississippian, and as an adult, do I realize that problem has been happening? Absolutely. That problem and so many more. But, the systemic issues that are occurring in my home state that don't have a ready solution anytime soon because of the fact that it is predominantly, it is predominantly Black, it is predominantly poor. We don't have enough time. We don't have enough time. That's a sensitive issue for me. We don't have enough time. So to answer your question, yes, for a number of different reasons. Absolutely, yes.
Thank you, Dr. Monley. Dr. Cooley, Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves said the state gave Jackson $200 million over the last 5 or 6 years to address its litany of infrastructure needs. However, an analysis of the numbers provided by Reeves' office shows that most of that amount referenced likely didn't come out of the state's bank account. Rather, the investments mentioned by the governor include several loans to address water and wastewater needs, revenues generated by the city's 1% infrastructure tax, and a direct allocation sent to the city from the federal government to help it recover from COVID-19 pandemic. What do you believe is the governor's accountability regarding this issue?
First of all, I want to say that Jackson is the capital of Mississippi, and the governor, and my understanding, him and the mayor do not get along. And part of that is because of what I have read is the demographics of that city. I believe that anytime it's your capital, regardless of what the demographics are, you got to make sure that, first of all, your state is going to be on the map if you're having problems in your capital. Secondly, you have to be able to work with the politicians from every level. And if that requires moving some funds around to make sure that these people are taken care of or help is there, as my understanding, they got a system that's been like that for 4 or 5 decades. There's major problems. So it's getting on the same track with the other politicians and city leaders and state leaders in that state. I believe that's essential.
Thank you, Dr. Cooley. Dr. Mantell and Joshua Goldsmith, just a quick answer to this. United States is one of the richest countries in the world. However, why do you believe infrastructure issues like Jackson, Mississippi, and possibly other poor communities cannot get the assistance or the help they need? And we've got 1 minute for you to respond.
I'll tell you very quickly. Water, transportation, electricity, even the internet cannot not be based on whether and who can pay and who can't pay. The public policy says that access to water is a fundamental human right. So I believe with the white disinvestment from Jackson, the city has been burdened with problems for many years. The white flight drained the city of resources. Ultimately, I'll sum it up this way. It's racism to the umpteenth degree, period.
Thank you. Josh, a quick response on that?
I agree with Dr. Mantell. It's a shame what's going on in these places. In Flint, Michigan, I'm from Michigan. I was close to the situation. These water crises that's a fundamental human right. What we've been talking about all show. It's like, what's humanity? How do we let people even drinking water from bottles? That's not the most healthy, because you get the plastics going in, filtering in, and we need fresh water. We need this problem resolved, and we've proven over and over that we have the mobility, the driving power, these governments to do it. Let's help that. Wasn't DeSantis send out some water instead of immigration? Send water. Let's solve these problems rather than trying to, keep other people down. It's really disheartening, and we really need to pay attention.
Thank you, Joshua. Dr. Cooley?
Well, we're going to have to end it with this, what we said, but I tell you what, this has been an absolutely fantastic panel. I would love to have each one of you guys back for our October panel, if your schedule allow you to do that. And I just want to say that our viewers out there, I hope you learn a lot, and by all means, you can be part of what we're doing by just responding. I tell you what, I want to leave with a departing note. I want everybody to always believe in yourself, always know that you got purpose, and always dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. It's your life. I'm James Cooley. We'll be back Monday through Friday next week. Same time, same place. It's your life.
Straight out of my head. Guess we